Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Oculi Rebus. This is your host, the man, the myth, the unlegendary one himself, Mike Ellis with that MEE experience. Recording live and in person on the 13th floor. This episode is produced by John Solis and is a Yuckfo production. This podcast is recorded for quality assurance and training purposes only. So a lot's going on, and I know I've been saying for a while that I was going to do an episode on hate speech and hate symbols. So that's what we're going to do. Let's see. John was lazy, didn't come up with a name yet. So I'm thinking something along the lines of self-identified language, right? So we live in a day and age where you can identify as a three-legged unicorn if you want, and that can't be judged, I guess. But it should be, because that's a mental disorder on itself. But let's start talking about hate speech. What is it, right? It's anything that you disagree with, really, which makes me honestly think that hate speech is not a real thing. Are hateful things said? Yes, absolutely, but that doesn't change the idea of what speech is. You know, we have the First Amendment, which we hit up continuously here on the Oculi Rebus on the podcast. We talk about how it's surmised as the freedom of the press, right? You can say what you want, when you want, however you want. Granted, there's consequences. There's consequences for every action. Cause and effect, right? Learned that in elementary, I think. I think we learned it before then. You know, you stick the fork in the in the outlet and you get fucking shocked. Cause and effect. Learn not to do that again, right? I don't think I did that. I'd have to ask my family. I'm not 100% sure. But everything's got cause and effect. So everything is either hate speech or nothing is hate speech. And what I mean is, anytime somebody speaks out against something, whether it's religious intolerance and I say religious intolerance based on something that is purposefully being hateful and hurtful, overtly offensive, right? Whether it's like anti-Semitic, or it's against Catholicism or Christianity or Hinduism or Muslim faith or anything like that. You can absolutely be very hurtful and hateful with the words that you use. But in a society where we have the First Amendment, the idea of hate speech and trying to prosecute people for hate speech, I think is clinically ignorant. I really think it is. Now, just because a person disagrees with you on something doesn't make it a hate speech, right? Now, with that being said, if a person is grandstanding and talking about how the white Aryan race is the best race in the world, someone's going to say that's hate speech. But to them, it's pro-speech. It's pro-white speech. And the same thing with the Black Panthers. They can come out here and they can say whatever they want, and somebody can say that's a hate speech, but they're going to say it's pro-speech. It's all perspective. We always say perspective is a hell of a drug, and that's as pretty perspective-based as you can get. So even though we could, I think, agree very easily that the context of a speech can be hurtful and can be hateful, I think that the harder argument that we need to have is hate speech real, though? Is that something that a person can be prosecuted for? Is that something somebody can be held to this righteous higher standard? I don't think so. I think when you start trying to do that, what you're trying to do is you're trying to silence opinion. And again, it can be hurtful, it can be hateful, but it's not my job, it's not your job, it's not any of our job to sit here and silence somebody. If anything, you should be pro this quote unquote what they call hate speech. You should be 100% for it, because guess what? You know who the fucking racist is, right? You know who the hateful person is. You know who the person who hates whatever it is that you think is hate speech. I'm not saying give them an audience, but give them the microphone like I have. Give them the opportunity to go and belch their lungs out, because I'll be honest with you, it makes things a lot easier, right? What's harder to identify, the Klansman without the hood or the one in the hood? Now, I'm not saying that people should have free will per se to just go everywhere and say whatever they want, but I am saying that at the same time. I'm not condoning people to say hurtful and hateful things. I am simply stating that I don't see what's wrong with it. I don't. I'm of Mexican, Hispanic descent. Well, I tell everyone I'm the product of rape, war, and pillaging. I know that sounds derogatory in itself, but I got some German, Irish, Apache, Comanche, some other European stuff, some Spanish, some Mexican. But I always say I'm a Texan first, right? But every group and ancestry that I have has fought and raped somebody else. I don't know what side of the war I'm on, but let's be real. Like, I could easily find offense in the language and the vernacular and the language that people are using to be derogatory towards any one of my plethora of races, or not races, not racist, but races that I have, but ethnicities, or however you want to put that, right? I think that there's certain things that shouldn't be said, right? Nothing that's insinuating violence, whether it's physical harm, emotional harm, or sexual harm. But with that being said, like, it's not the speaker's job to identify if you're going to be offended. If that's the case, we wouldn't have comedians. They're under attack all the time now. Some rightfully so and some not. But yeah, so this idea of hate speech, I don't know, we talk about it. But and people want to defend hate speech. They want to say it's a real thing, and I'm like, but it's just speech. Because if it's hate speech, it's pro speech to somebody else, right? And I'm not saying that makes the context of the speech or the verbiage that they're trying to spit out mean more. I'm just simply stating that you trying to sit here and say it's hate speech is just going to empower that person even more, I think. So now I know I'm kind of talking not like a loose cannon on this, but I know a lot of people are going to kind of almost disagree with that. But this is going to lead into this whole thing about hate symbols. So here's the thing with hate symbols, right? What the fuck is a hate symbol, right? Now here's the thing, right? Certain things, certain words, certain symbols, certain groups of letters from their incarnation, or not, I would say from their incarnation. Well, yeah, honestly, from their incarnation are hurtful, are hateful, and are racist. I'm not going to say they're not. The SS and the Nazis, that is surmised with being 100% anti-Semitic, pure one race kind of concept. I get it. I'm not saying that that's not a real hate symbol. I'm not saying that should not be viewed as a hate symbol. But there's all these other things out there right now that we're trying to articulate into being hate symbols, and we just need to stop. We got to stop agreeing to the bullshit. And that's what this is, like, at what point do you take up arms and you just start defending things? Like, so a couple things that I saw. So Antifa, right? I know the federal government, with direction by the FBI, refuses to say they're like a terror organization or whatever because they're not organized. But they've got Facebook pages. They got all these other things, right? They're organized. Like, they're poorly organized, but they're organized. Wasn't it a poorly organized Taliban that just took over Afghanistan again? I guess we're not going to go there, right? Let's see which one of these does it. Yeah, it's a good joke, right? So it's Antifa. But apparently, like, the common consensus is most people think Antifa is a bunch of idiots. If you are in Antifa and you want to debate your flawed concept of fascism, by the way, let's do this, because you'll be quick to find out that fascism is not actually an alt-right or far-right movement. It is a very left movement. So you're anti what you're pushing. That's a whole another episode that we'll get into here in a couple weeks, I think. So with Antifa, if you get the Antifa logo and you put a line through it, right? You're anti-fascist. Does that make you pro-fascist? No, it just makes you anti-Antifa because they're stupid. But on the, all this stuff that I got is from the ADL.org, the American Defamation League. Now, I'm not saying they're not a valuable organization. I just don't think they're a perfect organization. I don't think a perfect organization exists except for Oculi Rebus. But I own up to it. I've been telling everybody that this is the devolution or the de-evolution of media. I'm not trying to mix this idea of being a truthful media person with my opinion. I'm telling you straight up, I'm going to give you some fact and I'm going to give you my opinion. And I think that the de-evolution of it is the fact that I'm going to tell you upright what it is. It's not an evolution. I'm not making it something that's not. I'm just admitting to you. I think you go back to Woodward and Bernstein, they were politically motivated. They just hit it really well. And I don't mean, that's not an attack against them. I think they were phenomenal journalists for what they did. But there's an agenda. There's always an agenda. We always have an opinion. That's who we are. It's within our human capacity. That's what we do. So if you put a line through the Antifa flag, logo, whatever it is, the ADL.org, the American Defamation League, they say that you might be a white supremacist. Okay. I don't see it. Coors beer. Now, I've made many jokes. I've had Coors beer. I've been poor at times. But I've made many jokes about how if you have Coors beer, you're a redneck, right? It's a common consensus. It's a joke, though. People mean it, but nobody means it in a negative way. Be a redneck, be proud of that, right? But Coors also stands for Comrades of Racial Struggle. It's a pro-white supremacist movement, and they Coors. Now, I've seen people get the tattoo the Coors beer on it, and I know they're not pro-white supremacists, but the ADL.org website says that you might be a white supremacist. I've seen people with Pabst Blue Ribbon. Now let's get realistic, and I'm just kidding. No, you drink PBR, you're not a racist. Again, you're just not a good alcoholic. You got to up the game, guys. Up the game. Like it's tastes like piss water. Maybe I have tasted piss water. If not, I assume that's what it tastes like. That's the umami sense right there. Piss water, Coors beer, and PBR. So, growing up, everyone I grew up around, we always tried to use these little codes, right? You wouldn't spell love Love, you would do LUV, right? Or you do the I heart you for like I love you, right? And one that I remember doing is hate. It's an H with an 8. And it's funny because I started doing that in the late 90s. But I guess in the 90s, maybe I saw it off a white supremacist or something like that. But that's what the ADL.org, American Defamation League, that's what they say it is. It's a symbolism of white supremacy. I'm like, that's crazy because I've seen people with bumper stickers that say "Don't hate." Now, sure, maybe it's saying "Don't white supremacists." I don't know, but again, this is another stupid one, right? Now, the another good one, the not equal sign. The two, like the equal sign with the line going through it, not equal. It's funny because I guess this is it's a both sides kind of thing with this one. This one really blows my mind. It confuses me. It really does. And here's why. So I've seen a lot of bumper stickers, right? It says not equal. What they're trying to say is, the LGBTQ or, African Americans or Latins or whoever it is, whoever is supporting whatever this is, they're saying they're not equal in today's society. That's what they're saying. But ADL.org says if you put that symbol up there, it's because you're white supremacists and you think nobody's equal to you. Yeah, those are crickets because I got nothing on that. I really fucking don't like. Now, I do got something on it, but we're going to get to that, okay? Speaking of okay, the hand gesture, right? 2017, 2018, something like that. I think the far alt-right white supremacists, because they're all white supremacists, I guess. They did the hand gesture for okay. I forget what it is. Oh, 0.3, right? 3%, which is going to lead me into something else later. The okay. Okay symbol, right? 3%, saying 3% of the people here now in America are direct descendants of the people that fought for our freedom, and they're racist because they fought for slavery or some shit like that. I don't remember what the full thing is, right? But the okay symbol started off as a joke by the white supremacists apparently, and then it became something because of the white supremacists. Or you let it become something. I don't It's crazy. It's really scary that this is kind of where we're at in the use of symbols and words. The pit bull. There's a couple different variants of it. There's a pit bull with a little arrow head kind of thing on it, with red, white, and black, I think, and a pit bull. Same thing. Aryan Brotherhood, right? White supremacy. Go white folks. But then also you could just have a pit bull with red eyes, and that could also be considered racist in some circles or in support of the Aryan Brotherhood. It's a fucking dog. And the ADL, American Defamation League.org, states that white supremacists like the dog, so that makes the dog racist or something. Obviously, that's not what they say. That's a poor joke. But that's what they're saying. They're saying it's a dog that white supremacists love. So that's weird because I've seen black pit bulls. Isn't Pitbull the rapper black? No. Pitbull's not the rapper. He's the Latin guy. Yeah, dale. I can't believe I fucked that up. I was thinking 50 Cent. Sorry, Pitbull. Dale. So, yeah. All these things, right? There's the flag of Vinland, which was a fake thing. Well, Vinland's not. Vinland might be fake. Vinland's considered to be the land the Vikings, when they came over to this part of the world, first founded. And they died off, and it just didn't settle the same way. It took us a few hundred years to make this crapshoot come together. But the band Typo Negative, Peter Steele, R.I.P. brother. Deuces in the sky for you. By the way, the band had a song called Kill All the White People, which I think is pretty ironic. So they made a flag for New Vinland, or for Vinland. Right, it's green. It's got the black cross going across it. It's sectioned off into 4 unequal segments. You have 2 squares and then 2 rectangles to the right. So it's an offset cross, right? That's Vinland, right? And they're not racist. They're just not, like now it. But yes, so the Vinland flag has been taken by white supremacy because Vikings are white, and this is white land now, or should have been white land. That's where that's at. Blows my mind. Like the runic writing, which goes back to the Vikings as well. A lot of that is summarized to being white supremacy now. Why? Because Vikings are white and go white Vikings. I don't know. It's weird. The Iron Cross, right? It's not assumed to be racist anymore, or not racist, excuse me. Hateful, hurtful. You know, the Germans used the Iron Cross. Now it's something that's kind of been taken back. Taken back. That's an interesting concept, huh? It's a very interesting concept, I think. But real quick, with some information that'll lead to the arrest and the prosecution of the Clintons. It's been an interesting news cycle. Very interesting news cycle. First thing we have let me pull my notes closer, right? The Gabby Petito, her body was found. I hope her family gets justice, and I'm pretty sure we all agree it was her demented ex-fiance that fucking killed her and maybe killed a couple of other people. I hope he's alive because I would love to see justice brought to him, and I hope that I forget what state they're from. Hopefully they have the death penalty, because this is the kind of shit you get the death penalty for. But not to miss a great opportunity. We got people out there saying that the only reason we found her body and we're trying to bring justice to this is because she's white. If she was black, we wouldn't give a shit. If she was Mexican, we wouldn't give a shit. If she was Haitian, we'll get to them. But how fucking stupid are you? Let's think about this. Remember, I loved how Chappelle did it. Who was that French actor? Justice Smollett. right? That dude faked a fucking crime, and everybody was eating out of his palm. Everybody wanted all the answers, and he fucking lied. Now, I'm not saying that any person of color who makes an accusation is a liar. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm simply stating is this chick, Gabby, right? Gabby Petito. She was a moderately well-known Instagram or YouTuber or something like that, socialite kind of person, right? She had a certain statute of fame with her. With fame carries admiration and this give a fuck attitude by people. Same thing with Justice Moye. Fame gave him this, we give a fuck about it. But let's flip it. Let's say that Gabby Petito was the one who was assaulted and it wasn't Justice Moye. Will anybody give a shit about it? Sure, there would have been small cries about it, but no, because it wasn't racist. But because this isn't racist, it has to be racist. That's what you're telling me. Ladies and gentlemen, that's good marketing right there. That's some really good marketing. That wasn't even my first fucking note. It's just one that really got my attention when I looked over. But speaking about Haitians, the border crisis, right? I know the administration doesn't want to call it a border crisis, which is funny because I know people in this administration, when Trump had it going on, were saying it was a border crisis. And there was people then saying it wasn't a border crisis because agendas, right? Ulterior motives are a big fucking deal in this world. But now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys the numbers. Well, I'm going to 10,000 Haitians, 10,000 plus Haitians. Right? I know a couple of Haitians. Used to work with some great people, right? Of course, there's some dirty people in there, just with any other race, any other group of people, I should say. But let's think about this real quick. I saw on CNN today, Chile and Bolivia or Belize, something like that, is where a majority of these people had refugee status or had left from. And these are refugee asylum seeking countries. And so everyone wants to argue about, well, America's better. Well, no shit, America's better. We're fucking America. America, fuck yeah. But here's the thing about it. Refugee and political asylum and all that stuff, you're supposed to file it for the first closest country. Now, that's the law unless it's changed, and I don't think it has. But I digress. That's not even what this episode or this part of the report's about. I want to call out either the Washington Post or the New York Post. And if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say it's the Washington Post I'm going to call out for your shoddy fucking journalism. Now, I might put on the Instagram the two different images. I might put it on the Facebook too. We're up there now, guys. I got like 45 people following me. Get the fuck on it. But no, so New York Post, right? It has a picture of a Border Patrol agent on horseback. Everyone knows that's been going on, right? He's on horseback. And he's reaching for and he's trying to grab one of the Haitians by the shirt, it appears, right? And underneath the picture, it says it's a Getty image or whatever the case is, right? And then it gives the for the the visually disabled who can't see pictures, it gives a little tidbit of information, right? And it says that it's a Border Patrol agent trying to stop a Haitian. Okay, that's fair context, I think. That's all he's trying to do, just stop a Haitian, right? But when you flip the camera from the other side and you take a look at a different angle, Washington Post. The angle that you can see from this one, it looks like the reins are a little higher angled. And I'm not a cowboy, but I know what reins and I know what whips look like. This is a rein. All right. If you don't know, the reins is what kind of helps guide the horse and stuff like that from the guy on the back, the cowboy, whatever you want to call him, right? So, so it said something. It was like, oh yeah, it's so it says it's clearly reins, but it says reins or a whip. That's part of the description. This picture is Border Patrol agent using reins or a whip, like that. That's where we're at. We're going to give you the option and hope you take that it's a fucking whip, because that's what we're doing. We're just whipping people, right? And then they said a very interesting word, menacing a Haitian. Menacing a Haitian. Now, Washington Post, I read the article a little bit, and I don't remember the editorial guys the editorial people that did this. It's all opinion. But I remember reading along the lines of saying that when they were speaking to a Haitian, which I don't know if they gave the name or not, but I don't even, like, maybe this happened, maybe it didn't, you know, but part of me wants to say it didn't happen, and here's why. The Haitian says, this is what's wrong with American immigration. Then why the fuck are you coming here? If you know American immigration's this bad, if you know that you're going to be chastised, that you're going to be brutally assaulted, and that you're going to be criminalized, and you're going to become a victim, why come? I know, it's easy, right? Well, it's better to be a victim in America than it is in Haiti. Granted. But I just don't think that fucking conversation actually happened. I think it's clickbait. 100% I think it's fucking clickbait. Because there's no source video that I can find for this. So, SpaceX, congratulations, guys. Elon fucking Musk, if I can get one follower, it'd be that guy. That guy can make Dogecoin be something, right? Dogcoin, whatever we're going to call it. Elon fucking Musk. Certain things about that guy that I really appreciate and I look up to. Some other things I'm kind of like, oh, you're a douche. But 100% I'm jealous that he's got the bank and whatever. He's on a podcast. Everybody listens. Listen to him. It's bullshit. But no. So Elon Musk, right? One of the most influential people in the world right now. He's a trendsetter. And I don't mean that as in he's going to get a haircut and everyone's going to get it. I'm saying when he's like, oh, I'm going to build an electric car. Look what the fuck everybody else is doing. Yes, they were doing it beforehand, I know, but he got that ball fucking going. When he said, oh, I want to go back to space, look what the fuck happened. Like, people gave a shit about space. He sets trends, and that's good that we have somebody like that. He reminds me of, I think it was a Howard Hughes with the airplane back in the day. I see a lot of that in him. But nonetheless, so somebody had asked why the president hadn't reached out and congratulated SpaceX or Elon Musk or whatever. And Elon Musk's response was, he's sleeping. He's still sleeping. Which everybody knows that Joe Biden is notorious, always looks like he's asleep and he's never there. And I know I don't know because I'm not Elon fucking Musk, but I know what he was doing, right? He's saying like, this guy's asleep on the job. He's not paying attention to what's going on. He's not out here actually giving credit or credence to anything that deserves it. It's a joke. But not to be outdone, Washington Post, WashPo, they said the second richest person in the world wants Joe Biden's attention. What's that song? I want your body, I need your body. No, he doesn't want Joe Biden. He doesn't need Joe Biden's assistance. He's simply stating that this guy's fucking driving the bus asleep. Hopefully he's got a Tesla that has the updated driverless controls. And so, all right, the last bit of news. I know I kind of went on a little bit today, but it needed to, right? Mark Pocan, whatever. He's from Wisconsin, congressman, senator, something like that. He's the chair emeriti of the Progressive House Caucus with the Democrats. So this guy, he's smart. He knows everything. He knows from his temple in Wisconsin that Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, he knows what his people need. On CNN today, he said his people need more social programs, need more social welfare. They need to tax the higher bracket. He said all these things. And then he blames it on the bureaucracy. He blames it on these corporations lining Manchin's pockets, essentially. He doesn't say it, but the person from CNN, I forget who it is, who was doing the little interview conversation piece, alluded to it very, very clearly. Now, here's the thing, right? So this guy's up here pissed off because they're trying to pass the infrastructure bill, which I did an episode about, and trying to pass the budget resolution, right, to raise the debt ceiling. We're looking at raising the debt ceiling $5 trillion. So here's the thing. was it the House Budget and Ways Committee or something like that has already said that the budget and the transportation infrastructure bill is definitely going to add to the budget, or excuse me, to the deficit. Like, the math is there. It's flawed. It's not going to work. Part of the reason it's also not going to work is because they're trying to cram in, which I already know, a Democrat kind of spoke out about the legalities of it. They're trying to push through immigration reform, right? Giving citizenship and paths to citizenship to millions, which automatically puts them on Social Security and defund Social Security. That's what's going to happen. It's already a net loss. I mean, we're not going to get our money out of it. I mean, at least people in my age group, it's not happening. But he's over here upset and stating that Joe Manchin will come around because they're going to let him know what his people need. I'm over here like, guy, we're a democratic republic, right? There's 50 fucking states. Every state has a different need, right? Like, California apparently needs all of our money. New York needs to tax all of their people. It's funny how, like, you look at some of these other states, right? West Virginia, for example, it's not the best, not the worst one. If you want to look at its like GDP, if you want to look at its tax burdens and stuff like that, like, it's fairly good. It's pretty moderate, right? Then you look at some of these other states that have a lot of these reforms that are in these current bills, and they're bankrupting the states. You have California, which is one of the biggest GDPs in the world, losing credit rating. Shit, they shouldn't be able to buy a fucking car. Losing credit rating. But this guy over here, he knows what somebody else in another district, another community, another state needs. What about your constituents? Now, granted, as a senator, you are duly elected to care for the entire nation. But you got to look at the fucking big picture. You yourself, you say you're progressive, you're for all these social programs, and you also refuse to listen to a counter argument. Fuck you. Like, come on. You're not stupid. I know you're a smart guy. You know good goddamn well that it's going to add to the debt ceiling. The deficit. You know that. You've seen the studies, you've seen the reports. There's not a lot of evidence going in your direction. All right, well, I can go on and on, but it's time to move on. So let's get back to the episode. All right, so with hate symbols, right? Again, there's certain things, right? The SS, a white hood, things that are enshrined in hate and in racism and bigotry and idiocy. Other things are not. Right? The Coors fucking beer, the not equal, the okay hand gesture, runic writing, Iron Cross, all these things, right? The anti-Antifa, come on. The Pitbull. These are all things that could do white supremacists or do other hateful people use them? Sure, absolutely. I'm not going to say they don't. But if we continue to allow them to take what's not theirs, we become the ones who are oppressed. It's plain and simple. There's two that I didn't mention earlier, and I was waiting to mention them now until we got to the back half of the show. The 3%er flag, the Betsy Ross flag, 13 stars, 13 original colonies. Shout 'em, scout 'em, tell all about 'em. Right? That's white supremacy now. So the 3% flag, right? Now, granted, yes, you could say, well, 3% of the people who fought in the revolution, they're white, or whatever. Okay, yes, you can. But the idea that the Betsy Ross flag is inherently white supremacy, stupid. It's ignorant. It's ignorance. That in itself is bigotry. There's nothing wrong with wanting to honor where our country came from. Just like our Constitution, our country's gone through so many changes. We've never been the best nation, but we're always the better nation. We're not a utopia because that doesn't exist. We're the closest to utopia the world's ever seen. And to deny our history of the Betsy Ross flag, asinine. Next, the Don't Tread on Me. That's also starting to be marked as racist. What the fuck, man? Just don't walk over me. That's racist now. One that I learned about a couple years ago. It's not necessarily racist, but it's got a negative affiliation. So over in Texas, the natural, homegrown Texas thing, right? For food and for product and drink and stuff, right? It's a brand with Texas and it says Go. So it's got the Go on the inside, like a brand, like you brand cattle, right? So Go Texas, right? I thought that was cool. I want to get that tattooed. And then somebody told me that to be careful because the Texas Mafia uses something that's close related to that. Fuck, man. Now I can't get this cool tattoo. But again, we're letting people take things from us. Yes, granted, somebody sees me in the wrong gang, wrong affiliation. I could get clapped that night, right? Sure. But we got to stand up for just saying what these things mean to us. We got to stop letting people walk over us. We got to stop letting them tell us what's racist and what's bigoted, what's hate. It blows my mind that that's where we're at right now. It's it pours, or it pains my poor soul. So I've referenced the movie or Jay and Silent Bob before, right? In Clerks 2, though. The guy mentions porch monkey, which, yes, it's racist. I know it is, right? But he says, I'm bringing it back. There's certain things you can't bring back, right? But there's other things that we should never let them take. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I'll give you a little case in point. A couple years ago, I was having a conversation with a couple of friends. I said, anything's hateful, anything's hurtful. You just got to do it the right way. And I said, watch, within 48, 72 hours, I can have someone convinced I am calling them by a negative term. So I yelled for somebody, and the first thing that came to my mind was calling them a tire flipper. Hey, you fucking tire flipper, come here real quick. Came over. Hey, what's up, boss? Told him whatever, sent him away. Next couple times I called him. Hey, tire flipper, come here. Damn tire flipper, come over here. Hey, you flipper of tires, come here. Finally, he comes up to me and he's all, hey, boss, I really don't know where you're getting that from, but it sounds kind of negative, like almost racist. I didn't mean it for that. Well, I did, to prove the point. But if you call anybody anything and you do it the right, forceful, from the chest, nice and deep, and you give it that emotion, that's what they get. That's absolutely what's going to come out of it. We face decisions every day. And in a world where we should be telling the racist, the hateful, the hurtful people to stay in their corner, they're telling us what lines we can color in. And we just say, yes, Mr. Master, sir. How back-ass words is that? The people who tell us that a small group of people matter more are telling us we can't do things. And we're listening. Now, I'm not an idiot. I know it's not the literal they're telling us things. The system is. We got to stop believing that everything's racist. We got to stop believing that everything's hurtful, everything's hateful. We're going to get nowhere, and we're going to get nowhere really, really fast. And that pains me. Pains me quite a bit. So, I don't know what the next episode is going to be about at all. I really have no idea. But I will say this: it's always fun to do this. All right, but we got the Facebook up now. We got the Twitter. We got the Instagram. I almost said MySpace. We got the YouTube. And we're on Rumble. All that stuff. Cross-reference it. Get your buddies involved, and let's have fun with this. I really think this is a good episode. I don't know if I'm going to listen to it or just chop it up and put it on the internet for you guys. But I really hope you guys took out something good from this. But in typical fashion, I can go on and on, but it's time to move on. Mike Ellis, out.